What is up, you guys? Welcome back to Me TV Reviews. I am your host, Mel, and today, y'all, I'm on location. So if y'all hear some background noise, my bad, okay? I'm at work trying to record on my lunch break, y'all. So we're going to be discussing 9 bodies in a Mexican morgue, y'all. This is season 1, episode 2, titled Black Angel. Y'all, we are at hump day. So I hope your week has been going well. If not, I hope it gets better for you by Friday because it's going to be time to relax. All right. So without further ado, let's go ahead, get into the synopsis real quick, and then we're going to get right into the episode. So the synopsis for this one is: alliances form, enemies are made, and lines are drawn as the passengers search for food and water. But when another passenger dies, they realize they may all be targets. Now, we'll go ahead and give y'all this disclaimer, y'all. Them last 10, 15 minutes, it was about 12 minutes. Them last 12 minutes, I ain't take no notes, so we going right off the dome, okay? So, let's go ahead and get into it. So, we open up this episode with more officers coming to the morgue. I believe that they brought the ME with them this time, and they explain the situation, and they warn that it's going to be bad. That's not the ME, y'all. It's just more officers. And so they warned it's going to be really bad because they were out there in the heat for days. The insects done got to them. That heat done got to them. It just don't look good. So we go back to the past a couple of days ago. We're at day 2 now, and the second stick figure is Dawn. Okay. Kevin keeps projecting his guilt onto Zach about Octavio's death. Had he not been forced to operate, then he definitely would still be dead, says Zach. So you did what you did. You did what you could with him. It's fine, okay? Whatever happened, but he's still feeling hella guilty about it. But now the problem is they have to move the body. Meanwhile, Amy and Dan are looking at them, and Dan, she was like, hey, you should go over there and help. And Dan was like, hell no, I'm not doing that because it's too hot. It's too hot outside, girl. And I was like, Dan, what type of stuff you on? Like, okay. Instead, he tells her that he took Octavio's phone because he didn't want it to be left out there in the forest for whatever reason. Or with Octavio, just in case they found him, try to ID him without having to use his license, just saying, right? Passport, whatever, identification card, whatever. He took his phone. So he tells her that he tried to check it, but it's locked. He then claims that he finna get ready to go to the bathroom, and he said that I'm just finna go over there. That's the way he said it. Okay. And so she was like, okay, I'll come with you. He was like, girl, no, that's okay. I gotta go to the bathroom. Again, that's your wife. So, I mean, not saying, that you want anybody around, but they still getting to know each other. When you've been together for a minute, it don't even matter. So, when he's going to the bathroom, the knife that Kevin had kind of like stabbed down into the tree stump, we see a hand pick it up, and before we got to the next part, I was like, wait a minute, whose hand is that? All we saw was a watch, and whoever picked it up, they was right-handed, right? So I was like, wait a minute, hold on. Did Kevin have a watch on? Did Dan have a watch on? Because whoever was a white guy, okay? So a few minutes later, we actually found out that it was Dan who grabbed that knife. Now, he grabbed that knife because he went to go cut off Octavio's finger. Now, this could go a couple of ways, right? We know it's for him to probably be able to get into the phone, but why you need to get into this man's phone? That was my question. And then, are you trying to get in there because you trying to see if you could possibly try to send for help? Or is it to delete any possible information that he may have on you? Questions. And so Kevin and Zach end up moving Octavio's body. And this is when Kevin shares more of his background with Zach, telling him that he loved his work. Okay, he worked hard every doggone day. And after 6 years of practicing, he was able to open up his own business practice. But just like any other business, running this is hard. It's hard trying to do your own thing, pay all these bills, make your own rules, this, that, and the third. And so it was draining his pockets. It was eating them up. And he decided to Gobert, in quotations, Gobert, by ceasing to pay his malpractice insurance. That's what it means. And so what happened was he started to cut corners, and that's when shit go left all the time. And it came back in the form of a 12-year-old girl who ended up having an allergic reaction to a medication that he had prescribed her. Now, I don't know if this was a newfound allergy that they discovered after she started using it, or if they just forgot to mention this particular allergy, and then boom, bam, there you go. She up in the hospital, right? She ended up recovering, but the family sued afterwards, and he lost everything, including his family. The wife was like, baby, divorce. I'm done with you. And I don't know if he had multiple kids by her, but they had a daughter, and he has not seen his daughter in the last decade, y'all. It's sad. And so he ends up making this snarky ass comment about being sued by Octavio's family if they ever find out that he was the one that did the operation that killed him. And I was like, you better hope that you make it out to even be sued in the first place, sir. Now, Travis gets a suitcase from Sonya that he claims has sports equipment in it. But the context around Lisa saying that they may have to use it later, I was like, yeah, it's got to be a gun or something in there. And watch his dumb behind talk about hunting is a sport. No offense to anybody that actually does hunting as a sport, because yes, it does put food on the table for some families, but anyway, we're not going to go there. So she pulls him close to tell him that she believes that Octavio was murdered. And she says this based off the hemorrhaging that was around his eyes and his lips. And so he was like, girl, what are you talking about? And she was like, yo, don't you remember that one patient that happened? No, he don't remember that one patient. Now, she didn't say patient. She said Mrs. somebody, Mrs. G. Okay. He was like, no, I don't think I ever met no Mrs. G. And she was like, well, I do. I remember her very well. And yeah, no. He exhibited all the same signs and symptoms to look for that she had when she died. And so he was like, well, why would somebody want to kill him off? What would be the reasoning behind that when he's the pilot? And so she was like, oh, to preserve rations. They wanted to take some more food for themselves. I was like, girl, ain't nobody thinking about... Okay, Lisa. So, y'all, wait a minute. Hold on. Okay, there you go. And I was like, wait a minute. The way that she was talking, because y'all know I take notes as the show goes on. Does Lisa have a medical background? But as she's telling him her theory, she hears somebody behind them rustling like in the forest. And so she clam up real fast. And in my head, I'm like, where in the hell are Carlos and Dan? Where they at? So Sonya talks to Amy. And based off their conversation, I'm wondering if Amy may be struggling with some mental illnesses, because she doesn't even remember mentioning to the group that she had just gotten married to Dan. But she also brings up how her and Dan met in the first place. So she tells her, that she was discharging from this clinic, and he was her driver that picked her up from said clinic. Heavy quotations on that. And instead of them going home, they went to Vegas, they lived it up there, and they got married on a whim. Okay, so not exactly 90-day fiance, but yeah, runaway bride almost. So they were going to go tell her dad, who happens to be like this big wig at a big tech company, once they got home. But of course, they never made it home just yet. Elsewhere, Kevin, Zach, and Carlos are able to locate that GPS box. That's not what it's called. It's called an ELT. It's like an emergency locator transmitter or something like that. So they locate that box to try to get some help sent out. However, Carlos tells them that they're going to need a higher platform to translate the signal off of. So they're going to have to go hiking up that high-ass mountain that Sonya was referring to on day one. Now, back to Dan. Dan uses that finger to unlock the phone, but he hasn't really found anything. He saw some photos or something like that, but nothing too odd that stood out. when he hears some rustling in the trees. And so his stupid behind ended up throwing the finger. And I was like, what's going to happen if you need to get back in there? You just going to cut off another finger? You going to cut off the other index finger? What you going to do? How you going to get back in? And everything is in Spanish, okay? So everybody reconvenes. Zach gives the plan for moving at first sunlight tomorrow to try to get a better signal for the EOT box. But for now, Carlos is going to try to fix the antenna on it. And of course, Travis and Lisa have something to say. When I tell you, I'm tired of them. Tired. Like, need a whole day's worth of naps. Now, at the prison, the officer goes to Boss Man and tells him that they attempted to take pictures of the bodies to try to see if they could match them to their passport identifications. But it was a futile attempt because they had decayed beyond recognition at this point. And one victim's face, y'all, was completely gone, obliterated, like just out of here. He was like, spare me the details because I just finished eating lunch. We not trying to regurgitate, okay? Now, Amy is still having hallucinations about seeing things in the forest that nobody else seems to see. I'm like, okay, is she schizophrenic? Now, I don't know what the diagnosis is for women for schizophrenia, but I feel like it's in the 20s, late 20s, early 30s when they start to exhibit, or at least that's what Criminal Minds told us when Reed got diagnosed. Poor Reed. So yeah, I was like, okay, maybe she is, but she's definitely suffering from some type of mental illness. Could she be the one behind all of this, y'all? But you know what, though? Okay, we'll save that. We'll come back to it. So Travis informs Lisa that he can't find his beta blockers. Now, he's got 2 medications. One is a beta blocker, which kind of like slows everything down, which is great. And then also he's got the nitroglycerin. Okay, so the nitro is going to definitely cause you to, it's more of an immediate drug if you need like results like right now. Okay, it's kind of like a rescue inhaler versus like a maintenance inhaler. So he was like, baby, I can't find my beta blockers. And she was like, where did they go? And he was like, I don't know. I just know that when I went to sleep last night, they were there. When I woke up this morning, they were gone. So obviously somebody done took them. So she goes to go look for these meds. Now, Zach finds Sonia in the plane. She's checking their food stock, which she does quite often. And I mean, you know, in this type of situation, you don't want nobody trying to get over on nobody else. So I might be the Sonya in this situation. Now, she don't hold nobody to task as far as like who's snatching the snacks or nothing like that. Because, baby, guess what? 4 bottles and some of the food bowls are missing, which means somebody done got. Somebody done snatched them, y'all. And so they ended up rigging it to where they use like extensive cording to keep the fridge from opening all the way for somebody to even take anything out. Okay, they're gonna have to put in a hell of a whole lot more work than what they was doing at first if they want to get some rations out of there. So according to her, because she don't really trust nobody, Zach is at the top of her list of trustworthy people, which he seems to be at the top for most people. And he was like, girl, tell me what you know about me. We're not gonna do it, but Sonya still has questions, right? Like, what is his true profession? What are you really doing to make your living? Because I know some people in the insurance game, and you don't look the part. And so he flips it and he asks her what she does when she's not traveling. And she was like, oh, I'm a photographer. And she even shows him pictures. But he was like, girl, anybody could have took them pictures. You could have got them off of, images or something like that. And so, of course, they share a moment of laughter. But I did peep how he never answered her question about his line of work. And he never says why he chose that flight, because she was saying how she's travels. And so she was headed back to Houston to go chill out with her friends and just have some relaxation time, right? And so she ended up asking him, out of all the flights, the possible options that you had, why did you choose this one? He never answered that question. So if he's not an adjuster, or, part of the insurance game, I'm wondering if maybe he might be a detective. Because if he knows a little bit of medical terminology, a detective would go talk to doctors or whatever. Maybe they may have to show up in court, have some of that jargon, especially if you've been doing it for quite some time. So I'm wondering if maybe he could be, maybe not a detective, but at least a part of law enforcement. We'll get back to it. So everybody except for Travis and Lisa go looking for a water source. Now, on the way there, Kevin comes across some mushrooms, right? And so he was like, hey, man, are these edible? And Sonya was like, no, baby, they are not. In fact, if you try to consume those, you're going to be dead real fast. Those are pretty lethal. And so Sonya, she tells him that they're called black angels. Okay, because of how they look, obviously. Now, I don't know about the angel part. Is that because they're gonna kill you? And you gonna meet your maker? I don't know about that part, but they are black. Now, a little ways down, Dan finds water. And so he is like taking his clothes off to hurry up and get in there. And they was like, ah. Now, it's got like this green film sitting on top of it. And I was like, what the hell is wrong with you? They were like, hey, sir, you don't know what type of bacteria is existing in that water. Why would you try to go down there? So he had already took his shoes off by this point, right? So Zach comes and throws one of his shoes in the water. He was like, what the hell are you doing? So when he tossed the shoe in there, the shoe disappeared real fast, like somebody done, like a fish or something done snatched it up. And so their first guess was like piranhas. And Sonya was like, no, piranhas don't live in this particular area. And so Carlos was like, well, maybe it's a barracuda, because not too far from here, a tourist had got attacked by some barracudas, took a whole arm off. Okay. So they show us what's in the water, and it's definitely something swimming around in there. It looked like it could be a barracuda. Y'all remember that one scene from Charlie's Angels where they played that song? I love that song. Anyway, so when they walk away, his shoe come back up. But let's see. They ended up they got real resourceful. Sonya was like, okay, aside from this film at the top, there is some water underneath there that is drinkable. So, y'all, she done got real Kim Possible, done rigged some shit. she cut the oxygen mask. She done took some tubing. She took the top off the fire extinguisher or something like that. I don't know how she did that fire extinguisher, y'all. But she threw the fire extinguisher down off in there. It collected the water. They started this filtration system. And, y'all, they had fresh water. I was like, yes, you better boil that water and get results. Love it. So while they're doing that, y'all, they hear some gunshots. Like 2 go off. And so they hurry up and run back to the campsite. Not the campsite, the crash site. To find Lisa and Travis shooting at the monkeys. And so they was like, what the hell are you doing? And where did you get a gun from? He was like, hunting is a sport. I told y'all he was going to say that. But at least they're going to have some sort of dinner. Not be, the most ideal. Monkey is on the menu for tonight. Okay. I don't know if they skinned it. I hope they did. But y'all, she ended up getting her best Paula Deen on. She done threw some garlic and some herbs off in that thing, a little bit of onion from one of them salads that Travis don't like to eat. And boom, we got a whole meal. Like I said, it's not ideal. As a matter of fact, Amy was like, I don't even want this. You can have it. So Travis was like, girl, more for me. And he took her bowl. Okay, everybody else ate theirs too, but she was the only one that didn't eat. Keep that in mind. And Travis ate hers. So while they're eating, everyone asked Carlos, hey, what's in your suitcase? Because you literally ran back in the ring of fire to go get it. What's in it? We all need to know. We got questions. And so he he opened it up. He pulled out this little I don't know what you would call this pouch, right? It's not a pouch because it's not like a slip draws or nothing like that, drawstrings or nothing like that. And he pulled out his luchador mask. And so he was explaining the importance of his mask being his identity. When he does not have that mask on, he's a nobody, according to him. Okay, that's what he says. But when he put that mask on, he is everything. And so he keeps telling them that he's got this match in 2 days. And he says something about his enemy being the governor. So like he is in full character mode, okay? Full persona mode. So he's real serious about this luchador stuff, okay? And so there's nothing there. Red herring. Now, of course, under the luchador mask and under the uniforms, of course, there could be some more stuff there. But for now, it seems to be a red herring. So later that night, when most of them are asleep, Travis is feeling some discomfort in his chest, okay? Something just ain't sitting right. He don't know if it was the monkey he ate or his medical issues playing a part in it, but he just don't feel right. And so she was like, here, drink some of this water. Drink just a little bit. Don't be trying to drink a lot now. And so he drinks a little bit. And that's all we see of him, right? Now, somebody aside from him and Lisa are up because we see somebody else lurking first through the plane with a flashlight. And then whoever is doing all of this, they end up going back through the trees. They dig in by one of these trees and they find this locator, like this phone, this communication phone that you'll be able to use even in like the worst possible places. Okay. So whoever is doing this pulls out that phone, and when they turn it on, I guess the phone number must be programmed, because as soon as the phone is turned on, they're able to call somebody else that's clearly somewhere where there's some type of civilization. Because the lady comes, it's the middle of the night, she answers the phone and she was like, yeah, it's me. Who else would it be? And we don't hear any more of their conversation after that. Now, the next morning, everybody is woken up by the sound of Lisa's cries, y'all. She's trying to stir Travis. Travis done went unresponsive. He done started convulsing and foaming at the mouth. She can't get him resolved. She can't fix him, okay? And so they wake up Kevin. They tell Kevin to come over and try to start whatever type of emergency, response that you can, as far as providing some type of CPR, supportive breathing, rescue breathing, any type of help that he can give. But y'all, it's no good. I don't know what the hell Kevin thought he was doing. He was like he was playing tennis or something. I was like, you don't have to make those type of noises when you're doing compressions. Now, granted, Travis is not the smallest dude in the world, okay, but you ain't got to do all that. It don't take that much effort. All that grunt and groaning, you gonna tire yourself out just making all them noises. So I did notice though, and this is just me being petty probably, but I did notice that when he was doing the compressions, y'all, he had put his head down to his heart instead of checking his carotid or to see if there was any type of pulse. And so then he called and he was like, I'm sorry, I done did everything that I could after I done did these 10 little pumps on his chest. It's not enough, okay? Travis is gone. He is dead. And so, of course, Lisa is upset. Rightfully so, right? That's her husband. They've been married for 30 years. Wow. But not only that, she then starts to accuse somebody in the group of doing this to her husband. Okay? Don't think that I didn't notice what happened with Octavio, okay? Because Travis is not the first victim. Oh, yeah, somebody else killed him too. I noticed that petechia, that hemorrhaging around his eyes and all on his face, somebody did that to Octavio. And then it dawns on her that she feels like whoever did this was listening in on her and Travis's conversation. And because we didn't see her reveal a name, but she was like, oh, Travis knew, that somebody had did this to Octavio. I had told him my suspicions, and now he's dead. Y'all did this to quiet him. And they was like, ma'am, didn't you tell us that he had a heart attack like 6 months ago? He's just overweight. Anything could have happened. Maybe it was the medication or the lack thereof. Maybe there was something else that was going on with him. Hell, he been out here in this heat. It's hot. It could have been X amount of things that could have killed him. And she was like, nah, Trick, somebody in this group killed him along with Octavio. And so then here comes Dan. Oh, well, we'll come back to that. So, Sonya and Zach are on the plane, and she's wondering if somebody could have really did this. And he was like, girl, I don't know how true you think that is, but, you know, he was what he was. So the elements just might have played a part. That just might have been his life that was dealt for him, okay? And so then Dan is like, hey, everybody, y'all need to come and see this. So he finally reveals that he done snatched Octavio's phone. And while he tells them that, sorry, y'all, the motorcycles is rolling through. It's such a nice day outside today. And so he ends up telling them that while he did find a couple of photos in there that were insignificant, he found a video that Octavio had made to Cordelia. Now, this is the same video that we saw at the beginning of the first episode where he was telling his lady love goodbye. And so then we've got Carlos there now to translate. And so he basically told Cordelia, hey, baby, the ship finna get ready to go down. The plane finna get ready to go down. I've been traveling in circles this whole damn time. I'm running out of gas. My GPS done broke. This is the end for me. Okay? Even if I do land this plane, I probably won't make it out of here. I just want to tell you that I love you. And even if I did make it out alive, I don't think they gonna let us make it out of the forest. You understand? So if we don't make it out, 9 out of 10 times, you probably ain't safe neither. So you need to get somewhere safe. You need to run, girl, run. And that's it. So then that was like, okay, well, if he's telling her that they're probably not gonna make it out, they're not gonna let us make it out, then maybe what Lisa is saying, what she's saying is true. And so then they all start to look at each other, y'all, and the way that they camera pan up from them as they're breaking away, they're walking away from this circle. And then we got the 3 bodies all lined up with Travis being covered in the white with the other 2 in the red. I was like, that is a beautiful shot. And that's the way the episode ends, y'all. Oh, did I forget to mention that, yes, she does have a medical background. She worked in hospice. Her and Travis worked in hospice care before they went into the hotel business. Okay. What's that called? It came and it went, y'all. Disregard. Okay. Hospitality business. There we go. So, yeah. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Who do y'all think it is? Now, I was about to say Amy, and I don't want to do that because I don't want to stereotype the mental illness, because I do feel like she does have some sort of mental illness. I just don't know what it is, but they be around. Her and Dan are together too much for anything to happen. So if something is happening, then maybe they're doing it together. But Dan seems so secretive. I just don't know. My money is on one of them. I don't think Carlos, Sonya, maybe Zach, because he's being dodgy too. But at the top of my list, top 3, Dan, Amy, Zach. But we'll see, y'all. Y'all let me know what y'all thought about this episode, okay? You can reach me at Me and You TV Reviews on Facebook and on Instagram. You can also reach me at My TV Reviews Podcast without the S on the end at gmail.com. I love y'all. Y'all stay safe out there. If it's warming up in your neck of the woods, get out there and enjoy that weather before them storms come. For everybody else that's gonna get winter weather, sorry y'all, the bike boys is out today. If y'all are somewhere where the weather is not so great, please stay safe. All right, that's all I have for now. So until we meet over the airwaves again, I am Mo, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye. Okay, y'all, so I was gonna go ahead and put this out, but it was too much of an important piece for me to just let slide. So after Lisa had found Travis and they had declared him dead, she said somebody poisoned him, because that what we just witnessed, those are not the signs and symptoms of a heart attack. Now, I work in the medical field. I've never personally seen anybody seize when they have a heart attack, but every patient is different. Okay. So she was like, no, that was him being poisoned. That's why he was foaming at the mouth. And so they was like, who would do that? When would you have the opportunity to do that? And then everybody comes to the realization that Amy gave up her bowl to Travis. But when would she have the time to ever do that? Was she the intended target? Then they realized that it was probably those black mushrooms, the black angel. Somebody must have been able to slip that black angel mushroom into the dish. But how would you do that individually in somebody's bowl? So either it was the person that was handling, passing out the bowls, or somebody put the mushroom in the big pot. But if that's the case, wouldn't everybody be having a reaction? Maybe so, but maybe not though. Because depending on if they have any medical complications, I don't think anybody had any complications medically that were as severe as Travis's. So if somebody were to put it in a big pot, then maybe they might experience some symptoms, but maybe not as too much of the extent as he did. But that brings about the question, where did the mushrooms come from? Who grabbed them? And who put them in the bowl? Was Amy the target? Or did they purposefully do this because they knew Travis was going to take the other bowl from her? Anyway, that's all that I left out, y'all. Like I said, it seemed like it was so small, but in the same time, they wouldn't have pointed out those black angel mushrooms had it not been important and related back to this episode. So I just wanted to throw that in there. Sorry that I forgot it earlier. Y'all have a good rest of the day. Be safe, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.